G'day everybody, Max right here from Success Council. We've got a fantastic guest today, Ben from Bitboy Crypto. Ben, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me today.
Awesome. Now, recently you just did something pretty cool, which has become the biggest crypto social media person out there on YouTube, at least anyway. So it's pretty cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It was a long road, but we made it. We got there. Didn't think it would happen as fast as it did once we started growing, but happy to have my community behind me, and definitely always good to be able to reach out to new subscribers, give the message of crypto.
Awesome, good stuff. So I've been in crypto since 2012, spreading the good word. You're a little bit more recent. When did you get in?
No, well, I mean, I actually invested in Bitcoin in 2012 as well, but
cool.
Sold early on. I didn't go all in on crypto until 2017, and then started the channel early 2018. But I've been here since the Bit Instant and Mt. Gox days.
Gotcha. So I actually was a victim of a 1,400 Bitcoin theft back then. So at least you took profits. I didn't get to, but I got back in, and everything's fine now. Although I still cry a little bit about what it could be, as you would imagine. Now, something I love about your channel, you just do lots of really cool, like you're all over the place in terms of altcoins, Bitcoin, the lot. And I've got a few little random questions that I've picked up over watching lots of your episodes. If you don't mind, I'll just rattle through them. And the first one is with the non-fungibles. Yeah. And I would like you to help me understand, because I know you were early on this, you were teaching people about this, and the space is certainly doing very, very well. So help me understand the case for the digital collectible, because I can't, I get, the framed photo of the quarterback with the signature or whatever, they're up in bars, where do you get to use these framed collectibles, if anywhere at all?
Well, I mean, we're seeing a metamorphosis, if you will, in this realm, which is where right now there's not a lot of use case for them other than holding them, right? But I mean, you could say the same thing about a baseball card. Some people may display it and put it up somewhere prominent. Other people that got them in a box in the closet or in a case in the closet. I've got, several autographed jerseys of, I've had from the Falcons and stuff just sitting somewhere in storage. I mean, that's where a lot of that stuff ends up, obviously. But what we're seeing now, with a project like Super Farm from, another YouTuber, Elio Trades, that we're getting involved with as well, they're turning into being able to combine these NFTs with games and with gaming. And it's so easy for me to think about, because I have 3 kids. They're 5, 7, and 9, and they all play Fortnite. They love Fortnite. They love to play together. They love the social aspect. They love winning. But the thing they love the most is picking up a new skin. And that's basically for people who aren't into games. I'm not into games like that. I like to play sports games. I will whoop some people on some Madden, but on Fortnite, you're gonna get me pretty quick. And they love these costumes, and they love the, kind of with every season or every, kind of changing of the, characters they have at the time. They're only available for a limited time, right? So I remember there was like a time where they had X-Men. And Wolverine was like the number one everybody wanted, and you could only get it for like 30 days. And after that, it was over. You had to move on to the next thing. And my kids, every day they would come to me like, Dad, this is the last time. Please just give us some money for some V-Bucks. This is the way that kids show their identity now. When we were younger, I don't know how old you are, but for me, like when I was younger, you showed who you were by going and getting some Jinkos and, some big, jeans that were flared out and, bleaching your hair. And that's how you stood out. Well, now, of course, you still do have, some of that with teenagers and different things, but you really try to stand out on social media now. And you try to stand out in the gaming world. You try to get your characters to stand out. And I think that really where NFTs come into play is when we can start combining games and NFTs to where you're literally the only person that has this costume, or there's only 10 people out there that have this, nobody else. Because that's one of the big things on Fortnite is I watch my kids play is like, yeah, you got the banana costume, but I think they call him Peely, Peely the banana. You got that costume, but so do all your friends. Like all they had to do is pony up $10 for it. But when we live in a world of scarcity and rarity with digital collectibles, that's when these things values will really start to go through the roof. Because all of a sudden you'll be playing a game and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I've never seen that outfit before. It's not available in my store. Like, how can I get my hands on this? There, of course, will be third-party, marketplaces that come up. And, that's just on the collectible side. And everybody likes to talk about the collectible side with NFTs, but there is like a deeper place where we're going with these, which is basically anything digital can be turned into an NFT, including like, licenses, deeds or houses, property. Like there's all kinds of things that can be turned into representative, digital representations of what they are. That's when NFTs are going to get really cool. We're not even close to that yet, but it's coming.
Gotcha. Now you created your own NFTs, is that correct?
Yeah, we do a lot with NFTs. We actually have so my channel, BitBoy Crypto, like I know I'm 38 and people call me the BitBoy, and it's kind of like a meme at this point. But BitBoy is a character that I created. I was originally going to do like animation on this channel and things like that. So we've got a superhero. If people see my logo, that's BitBoy. And so we came out with BitBoy Comics, where we are putting together a comic book NFT. We put together a bunch of characters that have like, rankings. You could kind of like, you can't necessarily play the game in their current form, but we have those available on rareable.com. But we have a big launch in the end of March or the beginning of April with Wax, where we are putting out a full deck builder BitBoy NFT game. So that's going to be really fun.
Oh, that could be very interesting. Cool. All right. Thanks for helping me understand that. I'd kind of gotten it to there. I understood that, okay, we're not quite there yet, but I'm thinking about I think the gamification of it is where it's all at. And how do you integrate these NFT with games? And I always thought that the game provider will have wanted to do that, and whether or not they're going to allow outside NFTs in, but then through competition, they just might have to. But anyway, that's where I'm kind of stuck on that one.
Well, can I address that real quick? Because that's a really important point that you made.
I would love you to, yeah.
So that's the old way of thinking of it. So the old way of thinking of that's actually what we're trying to prevent completely. Because right now, if we go to Fortnite and my kids have, a Fortnite skin, we'll just go back to the banana example with the Peely character. If they have Peely, do they own Peely? Do they own that character? Do they own that costume? No. All that's happening is Fortnite is letting them rent that out for a fee while they're on their platform playing their game. The world's going to a much more connected place in the future, just kind of like we've seen. Like, I never in my wildest dreams would have imagined when I was a kid that you could now get on certain games and you can play with people that are on other systems at the same time. Like I can play Xbox and you can play PlayStation and we can be playing against each other at the same time. Like that's insane to me, but that happens now. And so kind of the same thing we're going to see in the future with these games is that these costumes and these skins and these weapons or whatever it may be, these aren't just going to be available in one game. You're going to be able to take your, Halo outfit. I don't know if Halo's still a thing, but you're going to be able to take your Halo outfit and you're going to be able to bring that skin also with you over to Fortnite or over to Call of Duty or whatever you may play. And you will actually own it. There's never been a time in history where we've been able to have a digital chain of ownership that's going to literally be able to show through an immutable ledger that is blockchain who owns the skin. And when you have access to that, you're going to be able to take it to any game. So it's not going to be like, oh, the individual games are going to create for their own games. It's going to be more like there's going to be a marketplace where you can take those skins or those collectibles and you can move them around to whatever game you choose that's connected through that ecosystem. And, that we're a ways away from this being fully developed, but it is developing, and that will be the future for 100%.
Yeah, that's right. I think that the game manufacturer, as part of their marketing, in order to get more users, hey, bring your skins.
Yeah.
That's got to be. They've got to see enough of an upside in bringing in new users with that mechanism to warrant giving up the ability to rent them skins like they do with Fortnite. It'll be fascinating to watch that play out. Cool. Okay, let's move on, because now I'm really interested in Bitcoin dominance and just where you think this is going here. And there's like, I'll just frame it with like two different schools of thoughts. One is, when people come in, especially this the 2021 boom is being led by institutions, big money coming in. They need the liquidity, they need the custodian things, and people are suggesting that a lot more is going to go to Bitcoin. The alternative is that Bitcoin's not that functional, can't do much. The altcoin space is a lot more interesting. And if and when and perhaps there is a flippening and something else knocks off Bitcoin, then once the liquidity is not there And once all the custodianships and everything else is offered elsewhere, then what the hell's the point of Bitcoin? With those two sides of the argument, perhaps you have more points to add, but where do you see it going? Is Bitcoin flipping going to happen anytime soon, this cycle, the next cycle? If it does, what's the cost of Bitcoin? Does it have anything else if it doesn't have the number one status?
Well, there's really, in my opinion, only two ways to look at it for the future of where Bitcoin's going. I mean, I could say really three. Either it's going to go to $10 trillion, is going to replace the gold market cap. It's either going to go to maybe $20 trillion and replace the gold market cap and absorb most of it, because people see it was designed to be better than gold. And then even if it wasn't necessarily the original intention, which was a currency, or like Michael Saylor talked about today, or the last few days, he's been talking about $100 trillion market cap, which is able to bridge some of the derivative market inside of Bitcoin, which is $1 quadrillion. All of the money in the world that we have is about $500 trillion. And yet there's $1 quadrillion, so twice that much sitting out there in IOUs and derivatives. There's a really interesting argument that he's making, because there's one coin, or there's one, I'm just going to say one coin that wins no matter what, which is Ethereum. Because even if Bitcoin can bridge in some of the derivatives market, it's still going to need Ethereum to really be able to connect the user to that market. Ethereum is going to have to play a role somewhere. Now, there is a case that if Ethereum, if E2.0 fails, you would have Cardano or Polkadot or Elrond or some of these other projects to just scoop in and take that spot, whether it's Ethereum or the others. I tend to think Ethereum is going to pull it together. But those are kind of the three long-term scenarios I see. But, when it comes to the Bitcoin dominance, nothing is flipping Bitcoin during this cycle. I mean, there's 0% chance that's going to, I will make a bold statement and say there's 0% chance that by the end of this year, something were to flip in Bitcoin. And when we talk about the Bitcoin cycle, we pretty much talk about till the end of this year, because that's when we'll go back into a bear market, in my opinion, based on history, based on every cycle of Bitcoin ever. And so we will begin. Now, it may not be as bad as previous ones. I tend to think it'll be pretty close, but not as bad. So we'll see Bitcoin separate again. But, right now, it seems like Bitcoin has got to hit a cooling off period at some point. Right now, it's been so volatile to the top and to the down. So, it hits 42K and then it drops down to 29K, 28K, just a lot of violent movements. It finally gets back up to 40 and gets above that with Elon Musk, talking about Tesla buying Bitcoin. And then it just shot up again. For the altcoin market to really stabilize and for Bitcoin dominance to begin to fall, we need Bitcoin to go sideways. And I'm wondering if kind of right now where we're at around the 50K mark, after already peaking out at 58K, if we might see some of that, if we might see some of that stalling out over March for Bitcoin as it goes sideways maybe for a month, and then we might see the altcoin markets rise. I mean, listen, to me, there's no question that Bitcoin will go well under 50% for Bitcoin dominance this year. Where will it end the year? I'm not sure. There will probably be a time when it gets down to 40%. I do think that a lot of the corporate buying and the institutional buying and grayscale buying of Bitcoin with the people with the so-called stronger hands, I do think that seems to indicate not only less volatility in the bear market to the downside, but also that we may see Bitcoin outperform what we may have thought it might have done. And not necessarily dollar-wise. It's probably, I mean, it's definitely going to six figures, and all anybody who's in crypto believes that. This has been here for a while. It's going to six figures this year. Questions how high it's going to go. But when I say outperform, I mean outperform against the altcoin market. It may do better, but ultimately the biggest gains in crypto are still going to be found in the altcoins, and that Bitcoin dominance will fall at some point because it's just the natural flow of money in crypto. People make a lot of money in Bitcoin. They start looking for opportunities, and then it's kind of just a reverberating effect that just flows down to lower and lower cap coins until everything's going up. And then that's when we get really steep corrections in bear markets. My kind of prognostication for where we would see Bitcoin dominance go would be somewhere probably around 40%. I don't know if it'll go lower than that this cycle. It may, but probably about 40% is where I see it, kind of bottoming out this year. In the last cycle, to put that in perspective, it went down to 33%.
Gotcha. Yeah, Bitcoin's been loitering about 100% over the 21-week moving average for about 4.5 months, which is just way longer than in 2017. And I'm just like, come on now. But I've had, since for over a year and a half, maybe 2 years now, I've had one of the larger Bitcoin predictions for this cycle, which was $300,000 to $500,000. And I think with the shock of December and January and that tripling of Bitcoin so early and just blasting past 20,000 with such efficiency, I think a lot of people have revised that up. And it's like we haven't got, not that much longer in the year, but as we know, when it goes parabolic, it goes parabolic.
You said 350K?
Between 300 and 500K.
305. Okay, that's good. My prediction fits in there, so I'll go with that.
Yeah, and what I predicated that on actually was I believe that but we are running out of time here, but I believe that sometime before the end of this year, we will see a major bank fail somewhere in the first world. It could be a Deutsche Bank or a Spanish bank or something like that, some kind of black swan like that, event like that, and we're going to see some real fireworks here. So that was what that was predicated on. Yeah, all right. For mine, by the way, I think there's a race against time for Bitcoin. I'm not saying it's this cycle, a little bit longer, but I think all the experimentation that's happening in the DeFi space and all this wonderful thing that's happening in the altcoin world, there's obviously huge incentive for someone to crack the code and figure out how to incorporate Bitcoin into that world in an efficient way with atomic swaps or some other kind of variation. And if they can do that in a trustless way, then I think Bitcoin holds on forever. But if it can't get into that and be an efficient, it can't be programmed well and easy, then I think you may eventually, it could be several cycles from now, Bitcoin being knocked off top dog. So that'll be an interesting one to play out. Yeah. Last one I want to touch base with on, again, Ethereum, you've been a huge proponent for this whole cycle, and I've had some really successful calls with it. We're seeing the Ethereum gas fees go up now. It's probably, I think Ethereum of the top 10 alts, they're probably performing one of the worst, I think, the last couple of months, or last month, I should say. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the developers are suggesting that in April, they're coming at the next update will be coming, which will fix the gas fees. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, it won't fix them, but it'll help a little bit. Yeah, the Berlin fork there.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is I'm going back to 2017, and I think the 2017 Bitcoin bull market was massively muted because of the Bitcoin mining fees. That caused a cascading effect, which has exposed some problems with governance and also created all the forks of Bitcoin Cash and others, and it really muted Bitcoin's performance in 2017. Which, by the way, when a lot of people draw the trend lines and say we're getting smaller and smaller every time, I think Bitcoin had huge problems then, which it just doesn't have now. So I don't see that as a problem. One of the other reasons I had such a high forecast. So what my suggestion is, can Ethereum get itself in order and sort its fees out in a relatively short amount of time? Because this thing will build. Bitcoin showed us if these fees stay high and the contracts can't do what they're supposed to do, they will be ported across to other platforms like Cardano and other. Do you think Ethereum can get its act together in time this cycle?
Well, look, I'm going to flip it on you. I want to ask you a question. Here's a question. Why are we not dealing with the same Bitcoin transaction fees right now that we were dealing with back then?
Yeah, that is a good question. I don't know the answer.
Yeah. Were you going to say something?
No, go for it.
Okay. I would suggest that it's because people know now that Bitcoin's not a currency. When you want to send money somewhere on Coinbase or from Coinbase, you're not sending Bitcoin. And a lot of places you're going to exchange, like decentralized exchange or whatever, you're sending ETH. Most people are sending ETH or another currency, and then they're moving, because we learned that lesson already in 2017. And I think what that's shown is that the main reason why Bitcoin is pumping is not because it's a currency. It's because it's more like digital gold, because institutions are seeing that, and corporations and treasuries and funds and hedge funds, all this stuff, and they're putting money into it because they see the value of it. Okay. Mm-hmm. I believe that Ethereum is going to see the same narrative change, where we are now seeing places are not going to be able to be buying Bitcoin in mass quantities like they were before, because there's just not going to be enough. There's not going to be enough around. The scarcity and the rarity of Bitcoin is already coming into play when you consider that I think over 2,000 Bitcoin per day are being bought by just like 4 or 5 companies. There's only 900 a day being made right now. So when you do that math, It's already starting to come to play. Now, Ethereum has an unlimited supply. It's got like 2% inflation a year, somewhere around there. It's not very much. So it is much more deflationary than other currencies. And they're going to try to fix that with the EIP 1559 proposal, which is supposed to help with the gas fees as well. But the thing is, I don't believe that the speculation on Ethereum is affected that much by the gas prices. And I think that's what all this boils down to. I believe that the gas fees are secondary right now. That's the smokescreen. That's what people want you to believe. Now, also, we've had some suggestions. I like Binance. I like CZ, but we've had some suggestions that Binance is artificially inflating the gas fees of Ethereum, and that's why Binance Smart Chain has done so well. So what I would say is that for me personally, I think the manipulation from the institutions to try to keep the price of Ethereum down in order to buy it at low prices is what's really happening right now. And the smokescreen is the gas fees. I don't think it's now. Once again, we have to separate the speculation from the use case. The gas fees are extremely detrimental to the overall adoption of Ethereum as a decentralized network. Like, there's no question about that. That's why I had a caveat, when I said that, it could take over the derivatives market because maybe it can't handle it. If ETH 2.0 doesn't fix it, if EIP doesn't fix it, then Cardano, I believe, is the number one competitor to step in and take that market share. But if it can, that's a down the road question. It'll solve the problem. But right now, the speculation is where all the money is. It's not the functional stuff. The crypto degen that is sending ETH to DEXs is by far now the minority of the people that's invested in Ethereum. And somebody made a comment on one of my tweets earlier about this, which was they said, you said it wasn't the gas fees that's holding the price back. That's crazy. Everybody who's getting Ethereum, we get in this echo chamber where we think this is what everybody's doing because that's what we're doing. We're getting on DEXs and making swaps and making trades. But in reality, the big money, the big institution is where the big money is coming from right now. And we know what they tend to do. And they don't care. Listen, Grayscale don't care about the gas fees at all. It don't mean nothing to them. So that's just something to keep in mind. So I would say it's the manipulation, not necessarily the gas fees keeping the price back.
Okay, awesome. Final question. It's a quick one. Gun to your head. You have to liquidate your entire crypto portfolio and only hold one. What do you go for?
Oh God. Right now I'm saying Cardano. Right now I would say Cardano. Just because of the question, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that for Ethereum, it's the manipulation. We got a lot of stuff to suggest the demand is out of control right now institutionally for Ethereum, but it's just not materializing right now. And, Cardano has everything fixed on the front end instead of coming back and fixing it on the back end. And I think right now, if I had to choose one coin, I would choose Cardano right now at the moment, but that if Ethereum ends up, back on the upward trajectory, that can flip very fast. Okay,
interesting. I thought, and I phrased the question that way very specifically. I wanted to, I was curious if you might have gone Bitcoin for the safety of it, but.
Oh no, I'm a degenerate. No.
Let it ride.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, I greatly appreciate your time. Thanks so much. Do you want to let people know where they can find you?
Yeah, you guys can just search BitBoy Crypto everywhere. We're verified pretty much everywhere except for Twitter. We should be verified there soon. So make sure if you think you're talking to me or you're following me, it's the real me, because there's a lot of impersonators trying to scam people out there.
Okay, appreciate it. Ben, thanks so much. Guys, let me know in the comments below. What did you love about this? Were BitBoy's predictions fair or is it a little bit off? Let me know, and be sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.